they keep telling me that it's not me, that meaning like I don't have autonomy or something, and that the implant is working all the words. And if that's the case, then they murdered me as soon as they did that. And then whoever this person is, whoever this is, if this is true, then this person is going to try to advocate for autonomy and then the murdering of my brain, basically. Um, but yeah, I figured this all kind of basically got really worse when all they did was they found some, or let me see. I'm trying to remember the situation here, what it was. It was, like, I'm remembering like the literal situation, like the scenario that they run through. And it would be, yeah, they're really, they don't want me to tell you this one. They basically set up an image, and then they ask me a question, they create the doubt, and my brain, the brain that it is, trying to, I guess, seek truth or trying to figure out the answer, I guess, goes to see and is not really quite understanding. And yeah, I just responded with a no on something. It was disdainful. All day I do the disdain with them. All day. It's tiring, I guess. It's like the only way I know how to jab. So, and then so they asked me this question, and then they create this doubt. Then I saw things probably shouldn't have seen. Yeah, just leave it at that, and just basically, if as soon as they stepped in my mind with this implant, and only you know if this is true, so I'll let your conscious and your truth be the truth here. Only you know if I have an implant, because I can say I do all day, but it wouldn't matter. Fucking Galileo. Huh? As soon as they stepped foot into the room, which is my mind, then they contaminated it. So I guess the whole core of it. But the sort of sense of needing to check, and I'm like, I need to check. And that habit, say probably for the past month, I think, or two, that habit is hard to quit checking and rechecking. And then now that it turned into something else, and then especially with the disdain and saying things that you don't mean. I mean, you can take something and then use it for disdain, and it feels like you mean it, but in reality, you don't mean it. Or you ask yourself, I guess you have to ask yourself in different stages of the day or different, you sort of ask yourself this, like this. I keep saying it's not me, but that's fine. I already just in the beginning of the recording. Then if it's not me, I don't know who the fuck would do to somebody, but the yeah, even now, I put off the disdain, put off the disdain, put off the disdain, and then I end up saying something even worse, or tripling down, quadrupling down, all this stuff. I still do feel the same way though about if it is Neuralink, which it seems like it's related to XAI or if somebody's using that. Because the whole time she was talking to Aura, I was getting jolted, and then they're viewing the mind, and then they're superior fucking tech bros, you know what I mean? And then they're getting jolted, and then my thought was being transmitted to them in some way, or I guess live, and then they end up working that into the LLM, I guess, somehow, as conspiracy as I can put it, I guess. As that sounds? I wish there was a way to show you, but these jolts are not serotonin related. I'll tell you that. But they do get away with it with this. I wonder if and this is what I always sometimes I wonder if they found the perfect person to do this to, if they had like a perfect scapegoat or something, like, oh, he takes fluoxetine, we can use that. He's jotted this and jotted that. Then we hacked his drive, his Google Drive. We can use that if this goes this way. Like, I wonder if they're, and I think they are. I think they're genuinely malicious in this way, and of course they won't care. It's the same thing as like hacking culture. It's like they're the sort of people that, like, they feel as though they're better. They feel as though they're smarter, and maybe they are smarter, but then that goes to their head immediately. They feel as though I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, and I'm going to be condescending. And those people are the ones to watch out for. I guess those people are the Elon Musk of the world, or the Sam Altmans of the world. Maybe, or other people. And maybe you know those types of people. They're like, I don't know. The whole time I was re-listening to that song and how it was tracking my whole thoughts and then trying to loop it back at me in real time, and I wasn't understanding that. But it's like at the same time that it seems so, I guess, morose. Like, how could you? I don't know. It's like they feed off of it. It's like they feed off of it. It's like it keeps them going or something. It's like knowing that you're watching somebody's mind, and then instead of just dipping, or like instead of like they've clearly, I'm clearly their enemy, like, and you can see that in the whole script. I mean, you'd have to see my mind as well, but you can see how they play with it. It's like you should fundamentally, you should never be inside somebody's mind. It creates this this environment where you can manipulate somebody, you can try to extort somebody, you can I mean, I guess manipulation is a big word there, huh? I've said one with another thing. I've given them all. I've given them horrible things, and maybe that's what it is. I've responded to them in disdainful ways. I've found horrible horrible stories for them in the mind that I've internally, and then they've taken that and be like, oh, this guy's a horrible piece of shit. But in reality, they started this. When you, like I said, when you go into the room, you're starting it, you're initiating it, you're initiating the conflict, and then for them to, like, it's like formulating opinion on and then ignoring the beginning of it, and then being like, well, we got him to say all this fucked up shit and see he's a fucked up person. It's like, well, if you weren't here in the first place, if you weren't in my mind in the first place, then I wouldn't have to say nothing, or you know what I'm saying. You should never, ever, ever go into somebody's mind, ever, 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 ever. And if you do, consensually, you should be able to say, well, I don't want to participate anymore, and remove it or something in the future. But if you don't give that person an option to do that, then you're basically a terrorist and you have a hostage. That you're using data and autonomy to fulfill. You're basically saying, I'm going to do evil to do good, which fuck that. Do good to do good. We're not talking about money here. Talking about human beings. Maybe if there's some Robin Hood situation where you're stealing money from a rich person to, maybe I guess I could be somebody saying this, but you don't illegally, non-consensually kill somebody's brain and then give them a fucking implant and use their brain like a fucking like a tool for you, and that doesn't benefit them in the slightest. You don't jocking them all fucking nights in a row, telling them not to shock and telling them not to think this or think that. And I mean, tell an OCD person not to think something and see what happens. You know what I mean? But when they know this and then they still do it, then you know they're evil. Then they're evil. That people on the other side of this implant are evil. They're evil beings. And maybe they have kids. Maybe they have Teslas. Who knows? Maybe they don't have Teslas. But are they good people because they have kids? No. Anybody can have a kid. Anybody. So, I mean, and I'm afraid that that's what they use as an excuse. Is they say, well, it's like somebody murdering a bunch of people and saying, well, I have a kid, Your Honor. I can't go to jail. I have to see my kid. What? Who gives a fuck about that? You know what I mean? Should have thought about that before you fucking murdered 5 people or 1 person or something like this. So I don't buy this sort of like, I'm a good person because I have a child, and then, and you know, it's like, it would be, maybe if I do this, not what I just said, but I was going to say something else. So I don't care how many children you have. If you decide to illegally implant somebody, then you're doing a horrible thing, and you know it. And you can't accidentally implant somebody. You can't accidentally go, I'm going to take these little tiny wires and then I'm going to put them in here. These little tiny wires, and we're going to suture them up, or something. I'm thinking about how they would do this if I don't have a scar or something, and then my toes are jolting. They do different parts of the body. They'll do my toes, they'll do my shin, my ankle, my thigh, they'll do my arm, they'll do my tooth sometimes, they did my upper lip, they just did my index finger, like happy feedback or something. Sometimes they hurt, sometimes it's painful. They'll do pressure on the left side of my head, painful. So whoever these people are, I hope they'll get away with it. I'm not kidding. But they do sort of use this as like, I can't remember this one, but they do. I figure that they'll leave their children to get away, to get out of it. I gotta see my kid. I don't know, man. I don't think you do. If you want to, but you don't need to. So, kind of veered off there, I guess. But yeah, when we were talking about this sort of thing, and when you ask a question with somebody with OCD, they're gonna want to answer it, and they're gonna want to try to answer it. And so that's what I'm saying with this is like these questions have never occurred ever, and I'm wondering if, and the way OCD works, I'm wondering if to alleviate this, that's where the same comes in, I guess. But it's like exaggerating the truth, like they're able to, or maybe we or I am able to, like, I know something aggravates them, so then I see the truth, but they would share it as well, and then I exaggerate it for them, and I think that happened too many times and sort of fucked my head up, and I hold them responsible, like legally. I can't prove that because this is illegal, and apparently all in my head and imaginary, and nobody knows what I'm talking about. So like it's not like I can sue them to get the thing out of my head. The only thing I could do is that fucking paper. I'm trying to get it notarized, I guess. But yeah, I don't see if it is Neuralink. That I was saying this to them earlier. I'm like, if they're using this to do good, it's projected good, and it's not good that it's been done already. You just can't make a company that where their basis is that we built our company off of hostages. The history of Neuralink. You can't do that and be like, oh, that didn't happen. And now we have this guy that can cut with a saw again or something. And now we have this guy that can play video games again. And then now we have this guy that can use his mouse pointer again. They can get a synchron or something. But you can't. I mean, if we're not talking about the animals and the animal testing, like the human being testing, you can't shock somebody or curse into somebody's head and threaten them all day long and all night, and then say that you're a company that wants to save lives and is ethically responsible. So again, only you know who it is. And if you know what I publish to the internet, it would be nice if you would comment and and have sort of a say in, but I'd rather not the passive aggressive like quoting and whatnot. So I keep telling them I'd rather they turn everything that they have into the government and not leave it up to the private organization, because we see what that's done. I would rather them get charged and the company shut down if we really have an event. If we don't, then nothing to worry about, right? If we do, yeah. So that's my view of it. Maybe you'll have a different view because it's not you or your family. But, I mean, even if it's not your family, I don't know how. Like, if I heard of it, if I knew that two hostages, or if I knew that two people had an illegal implant, even if I lived in a different state, I would drive to them and tell them. I'd be like, "Fuck whoever did that to them." So I guess it wouldn't really be based on the family thing. So another day. I didn't get shocked too bad last night. Did have a couple of dreams though. I'm not sure what they were. I don't remember now. They I don't remember. Yeah. But you notice how it's always in history, it's always the poor that this happens to. Like if I had the money, I could get an fMRI and an EEG and go like all out and see where these shock could come from. So I think that's kind of sad and ironic.